Hey guys, I'm Megs, an often overcaffeinated, adequately tattooed, straight talking host, therapist, copywriter, and coach on a mission to conquer the crazy that is small business ownership. Join me every week for a rousing combination of lessons learned and gold nuggets uncovered on my own self employed journey, as well as interviews with other kick-ass creative leaders and how-to pointers for those business owners that want to improve their own professional copywriting skills, since words are kinda my jam. So sit back, grab a healthy serving of your favorite go-go juice, and join me for Caffeinate and Conquer, the podcast. Hey guys, welcome back. Since we're spending so much time together, I figure it's good that we get to know each other. I should probably tell you one of my big secrets. I am a huge fan of anything spooky, creepy, or scary. I could easily spend hours every day devouring stories and movies about things that go bump in the night. So this time of year, I am feeling myself like none other. In that vein, I thought I might start this episode off with a scary story. So settle in close and be careful not to jump or spill your coffee. It was a dark and stormy night. I sat curled up with a blanket in the corner of the couch, cradling my laptop for dear life. The crackle of flames devouring dry wood in the fireplace, the wind whipping against the windows, threatening to burst through the walls like that creepy-ass Kool-Aid man. Lightning surged through the power lines outside, exploding with a pop, leaving me alone in the dark. The dim glow from my monitor and the glaring red of the flames cast a spectacular mood on the room. My hands poised, frozen, hovering over the keyboard, unable to move. My eyes unblinking, tearing from the stress and panic. I knew the end was near. I couldn't hold on much longer. I could feel it surging through my veins, the nothingness, the void. The lack of strength to go on. Displayed there across my monitor was the latest in a string of emails from a dreaded nightmare client. It was the 7th message in only 2 hours, and each one was more demanding, argumentative, entitled, and vicious than the last. I could feel their words, their energy, their spite sucking my soul dry. With my last fleeting conscious thought, I made note of my feline companion, perched just out of reach, waiting patiently for the quickly approaching moment when she might begin to feast on my corpse. Now, a small caveat. While this story was obviously horrifying and super realistic and believable, it's also a work of fiction. Well, all but the part about my cat waiting to eat my corpse. That's pretty much part of our daily life. I've personally been blessed beyond measure to have not experienced any nightmare clients thus far in my own self-employed journey. That being said, I understand that it's a part of the package. It comes with being my own boss and small business owner. And while not every scary story has a moral, this one definitely does. There is no need to suffer through your own professional horror story. Nightmare clients will happen to all of us. Like I said, it's part of the story of being your own boss. But you don't have to let them suck your soul, drain your dreams, poison your passion, or leave your corpse as kitty kibble. Now, as I mentioned before, I've personally been super lucky to not have had to deal with any nightmare clients in my own business as of yet. However, in a past life, one of my primary professional responsibilities was to field those over-escalated screaming calls from people demanding something for nothing, a full refund for their own stupidity, or a discount on services just for being alive. We're talking 10-hour shifts filled with nightmare clients, dead set on breaking the spirit, confidence, and willpower of anyone that crossed their path. I mean, these were folks that bragged about their goal of bringing another person to tears. Real class acts. Talk about the stuff of nightmares. So trust me when I say I am a pro at dealing with the nasties, and my goal is to help share some of the ways I've been able to sidestep, de-escalate, and avoid succumbing to nightmare clients in hopes that you'll be able to do the same. First and foremost, it's important to remember that what's scary to some is seen as exciting by others. So you never want to make assumptions about a prospective client or their character based solely on someone else's jaded opinion. Take clowns, for instance. While I personally find them creepy as fuck and not in a good way, some people actually enjoy them and find them amusing. Now, I'm definitely not saying those people are normal. I'm just saying they exist. All right, maybe clowns weren't the best example, but you get the idea. One of the quickest ways to avoid nightmare clients is to better understand and recognize who it is you love working with, and at the same time, recognizing who it is that you'd really rather not work with. Now, if you haven't caught the first few episodes of the podcast, I recommend you hit pause now, go back and listen to those first, because this is going to play on that list of non-negotiable values we covered a few weeks ago. I'll be here when you get back. For those of you still with me, let's do this. So depending on your specific business, your industry, your ideal client, as well as your personal non-negotiable values, you should be able to create a pretty solid list of the kind of people that you're dying to work with. You might have specific examples, big names or celebrities that fit your ideal client. Add them there too. There's no dream too big. And who knows, maybe Oprah's in the market for a new business coach. For me, I started my list with the attributes my ideal clients have. They're creative, they're passionate, they're driven to succeed, they're open-minded, they're female, coaches and service providers, professionals in their area of focus, ready to heed the recommendations of a professional and get out of their comfort zone. They value my expertise, my knowledge, and my skills. They are ready for success and eager to manifest their big impossible dreams. They're making a positive impact on the world and doing it while being unapologetically authentic to themselves. They aren't afraid to make waves or mistakes, and they're eager to push the boundaries of what's been done in the past. They have a sense of humor and are ready to make the necessary changes and investments to grow their business. Now remember, these aren't hard and fast rules, they're guidelines. And as the boss, you get to decide when you want to toe the line or jump over it completely. No rule has to be set in stone unless you decide it is. For example, one of the things that I listed as a characteristic of my dream clients is that they're savage female entrepreneurs. Now, I'm not being sexist or discriminating on anyone. I'm simply stating that when I visualize who I work the best with, who I communicate best with, who I see myself best being able to serve, I see those as being primarily strong, independent women like myself. That being said, I happen to have a handful of phenomenal male clients that I absolutely adore working with and look forward to working with for as long as they need me. Now, once you have a list of the characteristics that describe your ideal client, as well as a few specific examples of who those people are, I recommend getting out another sheet of paper and making an opposing list of the character traits you don't want to work with. Again, using my own list as an example, I want to avoid things like being closed-minded, overly analytical, complacent, individuals that are looking to make money through deceit or are willing to harm others through their words or actions in order to advance their own business. Now, as you already know, if you've listened to previous episodes, I'm a recent convert to the power of mindset. So you want to be sure that you aren't focusing on this list of icky traits all the times. Having them written down and being aware of them will help you to better understand what your personal non-negotiables are, and will also make it easier for you to recognize them and opt out of new professional relationships with people that exhibit those behaviors. You may be wondering, Megs, What if my non-negotiables aren't things that can be seen over a Zoom call? How can I spot a nightmare client before it's too late? Well, I'm glad you asked. And really, that's the key, asking the questions. One of the biggest reasons I believe I've been so amazingly blessed with the clients I have is that before we begin working on anything, before contracts are signed or any project is started, we sit down for either a phone call or a Zoom chat to get to know each other better. This is an opportunity for my prospective client and I to interview each other, making sure that we click and will be able to successfully partner together to achieve a common goal. Some of the things I like to ask during this conversation are, tell me more about yourself and your business or your brand. Who's your ideal client or your ideal audience? What are some of your specific goals for our partnership? What are you looking for in a copywriter or a ghostwriter? And is there another company or brand that you look to for inspiration? Now, I know, I'm not saying anything mind-blowing or crazy here. I'm not claiming to have uncovered a new secret sales method or recreating the wheel. But because some of these are such seemingly obvious questions, they're often overlooked and go unasked. With just these few easy, unintrusive questions and the conversation they stir up, I'm able to determine confidently, within only 30 or 45 minutes, whether I'm the right person for them, as well as if I'll be the best copywriter or ghostwriter for their needs. The next step is an important one, and sadly, it's one that's skipped by many new business owners. Driven by the hunger to succeed and to sign new clients, lots of new entrepreneurs will say yes to every client that comes along, whether it's a good fit or not, whether what they're looking for is a service you provide or not. I personally believe in trusting my gut and only pursuing professional relationships with those businesses and individuals that I genuinely feel a connection with and know that I can confidently provide them with the services they're wanting and needing. If I'm ever unsure, I go back to that list of attributes that my ideal client possesses, as well as the icky list. By accepting every offer you receive and working with every client who crosses your path, you'll quickly find yourself either working on projects you hate or undervaluing yourself, your time, and your services. You'll be losing sleep, worrying about all of the nightmare clients waiting to drain your passion. Now, if you're hearing this after the fact, and you've already found yourself in the midst of a project with a vampire-esque client, don't crawl under the bed quite yet. There are still a handful of ways that you can handle the situation to make it as painless as possible for both of you, as well as hopefully still producing a successful outcome, at which point ties can be cut and paths can split. First, stay professional, not emotional. This may seem obvious, but many small business owners take concerns about their business very personally, which can turn a professional conversation into an overly emotional one very quickly. Make sure to stay away from any name calling, any digs, or bad-mouthing your client, their business, or their shortcomings. We live in a digital world where everyone is connected. The last thing you want to do is vent about a nightmare client online and have it get back to them. Talk about saying goodbye to your professional future. Next, it's important to be prepared. Anytime you're having a conversation with someone you consider a nightmare client, it's a good idea to take some time beforehand to gain clarity around why you believe the relationship isn't working. Are you finding yourself having to negotiate or compromise your goals, your values, your standards, or your ethics? Is the communication between the client and yourself not clear or consistent? Are you finding yourself working harder or longer on projects than originally estimated, or falling short of client expectations? Having a solid understanding of why the situation isn't working will help you remain strong and hopefully find some out-of-the-box solutions. It's also never a bad idea to ask your client if you can have a conversation. Talk about what's not working and what is. Chances are very strong it's all a misunderstanding, at least in some cases. If it does come to the point where you're needing to break up with a client, make sure that you give sufficient notice. While it can sometimes be tempting to cut ties and run for the nearest exit, that's also one of the quickest ways to burn bridges and develop a pretty nasty reputation online. Make sure that you discuss what the proposed exit strategy can look like with your client, allowing them reasonable time to replace you with a new provider. In any conversations with your client, be honest but not brutal. It serves no one if you're dishonest about the reason for why things aren't working, but it also does no good to resort to insults or low blows. Explain what your concerns are, as well as why you might not be looking to continue the business relationship, but do so as constructively as possible. And when possible, provide a referral. It's a great idea to provide your clients with recommendations of another professional that may be a better fit for their business needs. Remember, no one's going to be a perfect fit for everyone. This goes a long way in showing your clients that you wish them all the best in their future success and want to do your part to ensure they're partnered with the right people to make that happen. It might just not be you. Again, the moral of this story is that there is no need to suffer through your own professional horror story. You will live to see another day. And who knows? With a good conversation, you may wind up winning over your nightmare client and converting them from a gore-filled horror to a family-friendly classic. Email us at megs@megswrites.com with any questions, and we'll do our best to answer them. Who knows? You may hear your question discussed in a future episode. You can also follow us for additional updates, puppy pics, and food porn on Instagram at Caffeinate and Conquer Podcast. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the fun, and spread the word to your fellow badass caffeinated friends. The more the merrier. As always, thanks for listening, make good life choices, and see you next week.